My new comic, Thunderhead, is on Kickstarter right now. Go check it out and enjoy the episode. Thanks. So, in another video I was talking about protecting your time, a bit of an educational video, I guess you could say, about talking about, when you're trying to break in to comic books, to give yourself a certain amount of time, whatever time you can afford to give yourself per week, and really protect that time and don't let anybody or anything distract you from that time that you give yourself to kind of hone your skills and get better at this thing. That's very important. As I said before in the other video, I don't find that I'm very good at like portfolio reviews and stuff like that. I find it hard to tell people what to improve on, because it's it's at the end of the day, it's art, and it's very subjective. And if you're doing what you feel, if you're working in the style that you feel works best for you, I think you should continue to do that. If you're and I guess just the idea is to try to find people or publishers or whatever that would be receptive to that, because that's the thing. If you're drawing in kind of a like a wild kind of abstract style, and you're trying to get a job at like DC or Marvel or something, working for one of their major characters, that's gonna be a tough go, because that's not really what they're looking for. So yeah, that's why I say just try to find the people, or just do it yourself, self-publish, just find a way to do it. Find the way that works best for you and allows you to keep your own voice. But anyway, the other thing that occurred to me that I was going to talk about in this video, sorry, just having a sip of my tea there, is I don't love giving portfolio reviews in a way, because it's hard to say, okay, well, maybe you draw hands too big, or your perspective needs work or whatever. And it's like, sometimes if things are really glaringly obviously bad, then it's kind of, you can hone in on those things. But also sometimes the person you're talking to might focus on what you're saying too much and be like, like your hands are too big, but it's like a minor thing that you just had it's kind of off the cuff, mention it to them, and then they take it as more seriously than it actually is, where it's like it's not really a major problem or anything like that. It's just like a tiny little thing that I may have noticed. But so one thing that I try to focus on the most is something I tell to kind of everybody, because for me, if you're at a novice level, or at a level that's like, not a good level, but not quite publishable or whatever, like not quite at the professional level, or at the professional level, like myself, this is something that I continue to do in my sketchbooks, and I think that everybody could gain something from it. And it doesn't matter what style you work in, you can, I think it's applicable to everybody. And a lot of people do this. It's not like something that I came up with myself. It's just something that I found it's helped me a lot in improving my my skills, I guess, my understanding of things, of how to portray things in illustration. And that is this is like one of my most recent, put this a bit higher to the camera to make sure it gets in there. This is one of my most recent sketchbooks. It is sketchbook number 123. What am I working on number now? 125 or something like that. And so one thing I do, it's like there's stuff like this. Here, I'll take this thing off. I was at a convention in Amsterdam last year. That was super cool. And while I was sitting there with my wife, having a coffee, I just, it was a lively kind of town square scene, a European scene that you get when you're in Europe. So I just did super quick sketches. And if you look, closely, it's like, if you look at that, it's very loose, and I'm not worried too much about any kind of perfect perspective or anything like that. People are moving and things are happening, so you kind of have to get it down very quickly, which I find helps, actually. It's like the say like the choppiness of this shirt right here. I don't worry about making it perfect or anything like that. I just want to get it down in the quickest lines possible. And that's kind of what a lot of comic book illustration is, you know, graphic representations of these really detailed things. You try to get it down like a Mike Mignola or an Alex Toth into its simplest form, you know. That's not for everybody, but some comic book illustrators try to do it that way, and I think that I'm kind of in that camp too. This is taken from a photograph from a 1930s photographer called Ouija. I have a book of his stuff, one of my favorite photographers. So I just kind of did a quick shot of this kid. I just thought he was like really engaging. And this is the same thing. This is also from this guy, Ouija. Taking a bit more time with that. It's a still photograph, so I can take my time with it on certain areas, and some things I can do kind of quick. Some things I can kind of, if I feel like it's either interesting or that I can learn something from it, I'll spend a bit more time on that, you know. And this, you know, this is a nude model. I'm not sure exactly where this is from. I think, you know, there's a website that does like, it has nude model posing. I find that's pretty useful in terms of just if you just want to focus on anatomy and not the other things around you. And then another thing, this is my compilation of like 100 sketchbooks from like 10 years. And I called it Real Gone, and I just put all the best stuff into this one book. It's available on my Big Cartel, or it was available on my Big Cartel like online store, but because I'm so busy right now, I kind of shut that down recently. Not shut it down, just, you know, put it on pause just for now. I'll open it up again pretty soon. Just check back on that, and I don't know, join my newsletter, and I'll announce when that thing reopens. These are some shots from, you know, this is the thing that I tell people to do the most, is it's just movie stills. Just close my door because my dog is barking at someone walking down the stairs. These are movie stills. I put on some of my favorite, you know, visually striking imagery from a bunch of different movies, different eras and stuff like that. And I do as quick of a drawing as I can. Some of them more labor intensive than others, obviously. But always, you know, if you look at this, it's like the lines are extremely choppy and extremely fast, and I'm kind of ruining my pens doing these drawings because I'm not trying to be precious about anything. This is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Got a few, you know, Coen Brothers movies because I find, you know, they're beautiful to look at. The Man Who Wasn't There, is that the name of it? I forget. Yeah, a bunch of stuff here. A bunch of Coen Brother movie stuff. This is some Stanley Kubrick. Anyway, a whole bunch of things here. Water for Elephants. I was obsessed with the circus for a while, and this was like the best version of a circus movie I could get. This is Taxi Driver, the famous scene in Taxi Driver, obviously. A whole bunch of Stanley Kubrick stuff here, actually. You know, again, lots of beautiful cinematography to get from that. So these are a bunch of stills from, I think this is from In Cold Blood, black and white movie. That's The Witch. So anyway, and then it goes on to, yeah, this is Fight Club. This is, if I turn it this way, this is There Will Be Blood. Anyway, I could kind of go on and on. I'll leave that to, you know, hopefully get the sketchbook, get Real Gone off the web store when it reopens, and you can check the whole thing out. But most importantly for me, the reason I do it is, and the reason I tell other people to do it, is because it allows you to learn a lot of things in a short amount of time. You know, like I showed that anatomy sketch that I was doing, like the nude model sketch, and it's like you learn anatomy there. Obviously, very important, probably, you know, maybe one of the most important aspects of drawing. But if you draw from these movie stills, which is really just, me putting something on, say, my computer and pausing it and doing a quick drawing of it. That's all it is, really. Try to, not be not too precious with it. Try to make it fast so that you can get a bunch of them in a row. And I find what that does for me is I learn about light and shadow. I learn about drapery, clothing, fashion, cars, perspective, nature, depending on what's in the shot. But I can learn about, facial expressions, general posture, all the things that you really, composition of the within the frame, all the things that you really need to know to be a comic book artist. And you can kind of get a lot of those lessons all in one shot in a lot of those still frames. And the thing is too is that yes, this is movies and TV and stuff like that, which is not what comic books is. You should not. Everybody has their own perspective on this, but I don't think comics should look like movies. I think comics should look like comics, and they should play to their own strengths, just like movies do. But you can take the basic. There's a lot of crossover between the two languages, and you can take that and adapt it to your comic books. Generally, I think it's a good idea to try to draw those things realistically and not necessarily like in your style or whatever your style may be. Try to draw it in more of a realistic way, just so you're not using your fallbacks or cheating in any way. With your own style, sometimes you can kind of cheat by like not drawing certain things and just saying, oh, that's my style. But I think the reason we're doing this is to learn, not to experiment in style, but to learn from reality, like what things really, really look like. And then you take that and you adapt that into your own style. I don't think you should take this realistic way of drawing and make your actual drawings like your real drawings that you do for your comics and stuff. I don't think it should all look realistic. I don't think realistic looking comics, that's not my favorite. It used to be a long time ago kind of my favorite style, but I feel like I've grown out of that a little bit, and now the more idiosyncratic and individualistic the style, the better. But that's just a matter of opinion. But what you can do is you can take that realistic style and you can take some of those lessons and adapt it into your own thing. I think that's how it works best. So yeah, that's, when I'm at conventions and people come up and ask, how do I get into comics, or what should I do to learn more? That's something that I kind of tell everybody, because I think it applies to everyone from novice all the way up to master. I think everybody can learn from that technique. So yeah, give that a try. That's one of those things, again, it's like, don't let it take up too much of your time. At the end of the day, the drawing of your actual comics is what's most important. But like trying to, give yourself a little bit of time. You got some downtime, you're waiting, instead of picking up your phone and looking at some whatever thing on there, maybe just pick up your sketchbook, and hopefully you have a few of these stills kind of loaded up into your photos. Or I know there's websites that have like still shots of some great movies. You can use that, and just practice your skills. So that's it. That's what I tell everybody to do, and I find everybody can learn from that. That's it for now. Thanks for listening. Thunderhead, superheroes on acid. That's all you really need to know about it. It's me and Kevin Castanero making some comic book magic, and it is on Kickstarter starting in at the end of July and going all the way through August. So we've got just amazing art, some amazing covers from my buds at Lethal Comic Books, Carl Kerschel, Andy Belanger. I'm doing a cover, Kevin's doing a cover. I am doing flashback. I'm writing the series and doing some flashback stuff. Kevin is doing the bulk of the amazing artwork that you got to check out. With every issue, like with every issue, there will be, what do we got? We got a free sketchbook, we got a free poster, free stickers, along with the actual oversized comic book that you'll get. So yeah, on Kickstarter, check it out. Thanks for listening.